Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mystery Scoop. This is George I, the King of Great Britain and Ireland, who ruled from 1714 to 1727. Did you know that George I was a German prince known as George Ludwig or George Louis? He was the ruler of the Electorate of Hanover and part of the Holy Roman Empire in northwest Germany. So you may be wondering, how did a German prince come to be the King of Great Britain? Well, this was owing to his family connections to the House of Stuart, and most importantly, thanks to the Act of Settlement of 1701. This act was passed by the English Parliament at times of political crisis, and it played a crucial role in determining the succession to the English throne, making a significant impact on the course of English history. Essentially, the Act specifically excluded any Catholic claimants from inheriting the throne, as it stipulated that the throne could only be inherited by Protestant descendants of King James I, also known as King James VI of Scotland. The Act also strengthened the guarantees for ensuring parliamentary system of government. When Elizabeth I died without issue in 1603, James VI of Scotland from the House of Stuart assumed the English throne, in union of the crowns as King James I of England and Ireland. James I was the son of Mary, Queen of Scots, who was beheaded by Elizabeth I in 1587, and the great-great-grandson of Henry VII, putting him in the line of succession to the English throne. The House of Stuart was a Scottish royal family that ruled Scotland since the late 14th century and then from 1603, providing England with a new line of kings and queens, known as the Stuarts, which includes James I, Charles I, Charles II, James II, Mary II, and Queen Anne. Despite 17 pregnancies, Queen Anne died in 1714 at the age of 49, with no surviving descendants, and she was the last monarch of the House of Stuart. Under the Act of Settlement 1701, which excluded all Catholics, she was succeeded by her second cousin George I of the House of Hanover. What exactly was the family connection of George I to the House of Stuart? His mother, Sophia of Hanover, was the granddaughter of King James I, through her mother Elizabeth Stuart, the second child and the eldest daughter of King James I. Sophia of Hanover was the prospective successor to the throne and would have become Queen of Great Britain. However, she died shortly before the death of Queen Anne. As a result, her son George ascended to the British throne as the next Protestant heir in a line of succession, thanks to the previously described specific act of law. However, there was one small problem. George I did not speak a word of English. He was a German prince who had never set foot in England and had very little interest in English politics or culture. Nonetheless, he was determined to rule England to the best of his abilities, and so he set off for London to take up his new position as king. Despite the many challenges he faced, including some unpopularity as a foreign monarch with a troubled marriage, then subsequently the rebellion by the Jacobites, George I successfully navigated his way through the choppy waters of English politics and carved out a place for himself in the history of Great Britain. During George's reign, the powers of the monarchy diminished, perhaps one could metaphorically say, lost in translation, and Britain began a transition to the modern system of cabinet government led by a prime minister. Towards the end of his reign, actual political power was held by Robert Walpole, now recognized as Britain's first de facto prime minister. George died of a stroke on a trip to his native homeland, Hanover, in 1727, where he was buried. The throne was left secure in the hands of the Hanoverians and of Parliament. The Hanoverian dynasty ruled England for nearly 2 centuries, providing a total of 6 monarchs: George I, II, III, and IV, and William IV and Queen Victoria. The death of Queen Victoria in 1901 marked the end of the House of Hanover in Great Britain. Her son, Edward VII, inherited the family name of his father, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, becoming the first British monarch of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha until his death in 1910. Due to anti-German sentiment during the First World War, in 1917 King George V formally changed the name from Saxe-Coburg to House of Windsor, the name we know today. We hope this helped to explain how a German prince became King of Great Britain, as well as the German ties to the modern British monarchy.